What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. So here comes out some news on clutchpoints.com about Doc Rivers and how he speaks about how LA, called him, the Clippers called him and had to basically reveal everything to him about the James Harden possibility of the trade before it even happened this year. And sounds like to me specifically, Doc Rivers, he made a prediction that, James Harden would fit the Clippers a lot better and he would do well with them a lot better than he did with the Philadelphia 76ers. So to me, it's almost as if, you know, Doc Rivers on the sly is trying to take some credit for the James Harden trade happening, possibly, and or before, or he's trying to make himself seem like, he predicted this, so he's giving himself a lot of credit for the James Harden success thing working out with the Clippers. And don't get me wrong, Doc Rivers is one of those coaches where he's been around a long time. He's been a player, he's been a head coach. So, he knows the game. He knows a lot about the game. But honestly, I feel like Doc Rivers, at this point in time of his coaching career, focus on the Milwaukee Bucks. Don't focus on anything else. Don't try to take credit for something that was probably going to happen anyway, because, it was destined. James Harden wanted to go to LA regardless, whether Doc Rivers wanted it or foresaw greatness coming out of it, or he didn't foresee greatness coming out of it, or even maybe possibly even allow the trade to go through, since, he was actually a part of the Sixers at that time when all that, rift and all those conversations and things like that, proposals came out, that he wanted to go to LA, because he was actually, there was things about that being said in the offseason before, it even happened. So, with that being said, of course, Doc Rivers might have had a hand in it, but I mean, it's really no need to try to take credit for it or anything like that. Just focus on the Milwaukee Bucks, because that's the team you're at. That's the team you're on. That's where you're at right now. And that's really only the main focus you should be really focusing on, because your job is to try to make them the best team you can make them, and and see where it goes from there. I personally, as far as the Milwaukee Bucks, I would be surprised if they get past, maybe the Celtics or something like that in the Eastern Conference Finals. I personally see the Celtics going to the finals from the East. I'd be surprised if the Bucks get past them, only because I just think that the Bucks kind of are one of those teams now where it's like it's so heavily predicated on the two stars, and now that Doc Rivers there, he basically coaches that way. The two stars take all the onus, and then in the postseason, the playoffs, that's when they get tired and wear down. That's what happened to all his other teams. I wouldn't be surprised they actually go up 3-1 and actually lose a 7-game series like a lot of his other teams have. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, Doc Rivers, I understand why he's looked at as a great coach to some. I personally don't think he's a great head coach. I personally think he's a vanilla type coach. I feel like his playing style or his coaching style to me was a lot better, years ago, maybe in 2008, 2009, somewhere around then. But even then, he had a lot of failed seasons for the most part. I mean, the only really successful season he had was that stacked Celtics team that he had way back then. It had several Hall of Famers on there and a very good, supporting cast around them. So it's like, you gotta give him credit for that at the same time, but it's not really much coaching I think had to be done with all that talent on there. I mean, if some people knock Eric Spoelstra for, the Miami Heat big three back then I mean, that was a knock on him for having all that talent, but he's actually took a team back to the finals several times since then with Jimmy Butler. So, I mean, you got to look at that, and it definitely shows how good of a coach he is working with less than what he had before. And, the Clippers are thriving with James Harden. Hopefully the Clippers could just stay focused on what they're doing, stay focused on, their direction and what direction they're trying to go in regards to, getting to the finals and winning it, so that's the goal. The goal is to win a championship, and nothing else is on the plate. That's pretty much where it is, the Clippers. And for them, besides that, of course, being healthy to, give themselves an opportunity to go far in the playoffs and get there is more so their biggest thing, but we'll have to see how that goes with them specifically. I think everything will go fine. I definitely think that they'll, be a force in the West and possibly can come out the West and win it all. But I definitely think they can win it all with the talent that they have. And, the way Ty Lue is coaching. And I definitely think that's, good for them. And I think James Harden is a good fit. I think James Harden is playing well, but I think James Harden more so is a good fit with them, not really because of, any reason that Doc Rivers might have put out. It's more so because he's buying in, or he's bought into what Ty Lue said and bought into the culture there in regards to wanting to win a championship. Because I think James Harden realizes the Clippers might be his last go round, because if it doesn't work there, he might either be out of the league possibly, or, he might land on a team or something like that. But the money might not be right for him in regards to what he'd be looking for based upon who he is. So it's like players understand some point in time, where they are, and they start to realize, and I think James Harden realized where he is. He knows he can put up big numbers at times, but he's not going to be consistent with it like he was in Houston, and he doesn't need to be the guy. He can just kind of show up at times when needed. And along with Russell Westbrook, it's the same thing. Russ know he can still put up numbers, a lot of nights, but I mean, just when needed to put up numbers is all that really matters, because it's all about winning a championship, because everything else, players like him and Russ, along with Paul George, have accomplished. The only star player on there that's accomplished several feats of several things along with championships is Kawhi Leonard. So, I mean, all the other guys understand, they know what it is. They know they have to try to, be on their best, be at their best to give themselves a chance to win a ring, because everything else is obsolete for them at this point. I think that's more so the mindset of James Harden, which is the reason why it's working out with the Clippers a lot more so than it did with the 76ers.